Hi, I'm Tara Lawn. Welcome to Time Out with Tinseltown Mom. Today's episode is going to be a little different from my other episodes. With so much going on in the world, racial tension at an all-time high, I wanted to share some inspirational, family-friendly films that address racism and injustice against African American people. A lot of parents are looking for films that they can watch with their kids during these tenuous times. Kids are looking for their parents to help them navigate all that's going on in the world, and film is a great way to do that. I'll be talking about 5 movies today, all based on a true story, that provide hope, which is something that we desperately need today. It's been said that the universal language of sports is a connector that brings people together in ways like no other. So today's films all have a sports theme. It doesn't matter where you're from, your religious beliefs, or economic background. When you're rooting for the same team, you're all on the same team, even if just briefly. Sports promotes a sense of belonging and identity by tying people together to a common goal. Hopefully, these films will not only invoke encouragement, but be great conversation starters that you can have with your kids. Now, I do recommend that before letting your kids watch any of these films, to watch them first to make sure it's subject matter you feel comfortable letting them see. The first film I'm going to be talking about today is 42. In 1946, famed Brooklyn Dodgers manager Branch Rickey defies Major League Baseball's infamous color barrier by signing Jackie Robinson to the team, making him the first black player in Major League Baseball. He was given the number 42. Rickey forewarned of this, but Robinson faced inescapable racism. There are scenes of racist fans heckling him, calling him every name in the book, including the N-word, and many of his own teammates signed a petition demanding he not be allowed to join the Dodgers. Throughout all the abuse, Robinson demonstrated bravery and admirable restraint by letting his God-given talents silence his critics. The movie stars Harrison Ford and Chadwick Boseman. If you decide to watch this film as a family, you can talk about why Jackie Robinson's accomplishments were so significant and how he helped open doors for other black athletes that came after him. Film number 2, The Express, the Ernie Davis story. This movie is based on the life of Syracuse University player Ernie Davis, the first African American to win the Heisman Trophy. The story begins in 1949 with the 10-year-old Ernie having to run for his life against racist bullies. It is there that we see how athletically gifted he is as he outruns all of them. Most of the story takes place while Ernie is at Syracuse playing football, leading up to his historical Heisman Trophy win. The Express explores civil rights topics such as racism and discrimination, and Davis and his team face extreme racism and hatred when they play in southern states like West Virginia and Texas. Expect some profanity plus racial slurs, including repeated use of the N-word. The film stars Dennis Quaid and Rob Brown. One of the most poignant moments in the movie is when, after being laden with an onslaught of physical and verbal abuse by a Texas team, the coach says to his players, "This is not just a game anymore. We're fighting something else out on that field right now." That's actually a great conversation starter to have with your kids. What exactly were they fighting for? Film number 3, Glory Road. Glory Road showcases the events leading to the 1966 NCAA University Division Basketball Championship. Don Haskins, head coach of Texas Western College, decides to build a team based on talent rather than race, which results in an all-black starting lineup, a first in NCAA history. Although the team are winning all their games, the community is outraged with having so many black players on the team, and the fact that Haskins starts all of them is an even bigger offense. Throughout the film, the players are hit with abuse at every turn. They're refused entrance into restaurants and hotels. A player is beaten and humiliated by a group of racists. The players and coach are threatened repeatedly, plus other tense encounters. The abuse finally takes its toll on the players, and the fate of the team is in jeopardy. This film stars Josh Lucas and Derek Luke. If you decide to watch this movie with your family, great talking points would be about working together as a team, no matter what our differences are. In the film, one of the players shared that this was the first time he'd ever seen a black person. How can you find common ground with someone who doesn't look like you? Film number 4, Woodlawn. In 1971, a government mandate allows gifted high school football player Tony Nathan and other African American students to desegregate Woodlawn High School in Birmingham, Alabama. In the midst of cross burnings and riots, Tandy Gerald's Woodlawn's football coach struggles to ease racial tensions between his players. But when Gerald's reluctantly allows an outsider to speak to his team, a miraculous change begins. Hank, who has been radically affected by the message of hope and love he experienced at a Christian revival meeting, tells the players a better way is possible through following Jesus. Nearly the entire team, black and white, give their lives over to Jesus, and the spiritual change has a profound effect on the coach, the school, and the community. The film stars Nick Bishop, Caleb Castile, Sean Austin, and John Voight. Although there is racial strife and tension throughout, this movie is not as heavy as the others mentioned and may be a good starter movie for kids unfamiliar with the strong racial divide our country has faced and is still facing today. Segregation is a key topic to discuss with your child, but also the impact that these players' faith played in their ultimate change. Our 5th and final film is Remember the Titans. This film is based on the true story of African-American coach Herman Boone and his attempt to integrate the T.C. Williams High School football team in Alexandria, Virginia in 1971. Bill Yost becomes his assistant coach, and together they lead a diverse group of football players who learn what it truly means to work together, putting racial differences aside for the greater good of the team. This leads to genuine friendships on and off the field. The racial tensions of the town, segregation in restaurants, racial slurs, and school fights underlines the background in which the Titans must learn to get along and play together as a team. The movie includes racist comments and very intense situations. Remember the Titans stars Denzel Washington and Will Patton. If you decide to watch this film with your kids, the subject of team motivation is a great topic. The coaches have very different ways of motivating their players. One thinks he's preparing them for the real world by being so tough on them. The other feels a softer style may work best. Is one better than the other? Hopefully these 5 films will open the door to quality dialogue that you can have with your kids about a topic so prevalent in our world today. In my humble opinion, quality conversation and inspirational messages are what these movies provide. And although these films have PG or PG-13 ratings, I want to reiterate that I urge you to watch them before letting your kids view them to ensure it's appropriate material you want them to see. Okay, that wraps up this segment. Thanks for listening to Time Out with Tinseltown Mom. If you liked what you heard today, please be so kind and rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time.